He thought his wealth gave him power over anyone. When a rich man stormed onto a humble farmer's land, shouting and raising his hand in violence, no one expected what happened next. But the farmer's loyal German shepherd was watching, and his next move would leave everyone in shock. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious. Where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The morning sun rose over the countryside, casting gold across the crops. In the field worked Thomas, a humble farmer with hands worn from years of labor. His clothes were simple, his pride steady. Every day followed the same rhythm: watering, plants, mending fences, caring for the soil that had fed his family for generations. The land was not large, but it was his life, his heritage. Beside him padded Max, his loyal German shepherd. Wherever Thomas went, Max followed, protective and alert, as if the farm were his duty too. Life was modest, peaceful, until footsteps approached the edge of the field, heavy with arrogance. The crunch of polished shoes against soil broke the morning calm. Thomas straightened his back, shading his eyes against the sun, and saw a man in a tailored navy suit striding across the field. His glossy shoes sank awkwardly into the dirt, but his expression carried the confidence of someone who thought the world belonged to him. "Nice little patch you've got here," the stranger said with a smirk, surveying the farm as though it were already his. "But it's wasted on you. I'll make you an offer, sell it, and walk away with something useful for once in your life." Thomas wiped sweat from his brow, his jaw tightening. "This land has been in my family for generations. It's not for sale." The rich man chuckled, eyes cold. "Everything has a price, farmer. Don't fool yourself into thinking dirt and sweat are worth more than money." Thomas stood firm, but the man's mocking tone cut deeper than he let on. "Generations?" the stranger scoffed, pacing slowly between the rows of crops. "All I see is a poor old man clinging to scraps. Do you even realize what this land could be worth if someone like me owned it?" The farmer's weathered hands clenched at his sides. He spoke with quiet resolve, though his voice trembled slightly. "Worth isn't always measured in money. This land feeds families. It holds memories. That's more than your money can buy." Nearby villagers, drawn by the raised voices, gathered at the edge of the field. They whispered uneasily, recognizing the rich man from town. Yet none dared step forward. Max, the German shepherd, sensed the shift. His ears pricked, his body tense, a low growl rumbling in his throat. The air thickened with danger. Something was about to break. The rich man's face darkened, his patience gone. "Enough of this nonsense," he barked, stepping closer. With a sudden shove, he knocked Thomas backward, sending the farmer crashing into the soil he had tended with love. All his life. The crowd gasped, but no one moved. Thomas groaned, struggling to rise, his old body not as strong as it once was. The man loomed above him, anger burning in his eyes. He lifted his arm, ready to strike, ready to show his dominance not with words, but with cruelty. Before the blow could fall, a flash of black and tan cut through the air. Max leapt forward with a ferocity no one had ever seen. He planted himself over Thomas, teeth bared, eyes blazing, a snarl ripping from his chest. The arrogant intruder froze. The humble farmer was no longer alone. His protector had arrived. The field fell silent except for Max's deep guttural growl. He stood rigid, his body shielding Thomas, every muscle taut like a coiled spring. The rich man stumbled back a step, his arrogance faltering as the dog's teeth gleamed in the sunlight. Thomas, still on the ground, reached up weakly, his hand brushing against Max's side. Memories rushed back. Finding the German shepherd, as a scrawny pup years ago, abandoned and starving near the edge of the woods. He had carried him home, nursed him back to health, and given him love when no one else would. That bond now burned brighter than fear. Max wasn't just a pet. He was family. And in this moment he stood as a wall between cruelty and kindness. The villagers watched in awe, whispering. The rich man's money couldn't command loyalty like this. Faced with the raw, unbreakable devotion of a dog, his power seemed to crumble. The rich man staggered back, his bravado collapsing under the weight of the shepherd's unflinching stare. For the first time, fear flickered in his eyes. The villagers, emboldened by Max's defiance, rushed forward, their voices rising in anger. "Shame on you," one shouted. "Attacking a man on his own land?" Thomas slowly pushed himself up, brushing dirt from his clothes. His hand rested on Max's head, calming the furious growl that still rumbled deep in the dog's chest. Instead of lashing out, the farmer's voice was steady, almost gentle. "This land isn't just soil," he said. "It's a home. It deserves respect, just as every person and creature does." The words cut deeper than any bark. The villagers nodded, murmuring their agreement. Even Max seemed to ease, though. His sharp gaze never left the intruder. The rich man stood frozen, surrounded not just by a dog's loyalty but by a community's judgment. His arrogance was unraveling fast. The air was heavy with silence, broken only by the rustling of crops swaying in the wind. The rich man's shoulders slumped as the crowd's eyes bore into him, stripping away the shield of wealth he always hid behind. He glanced at Thomas, still standing tall despite the shove, with the loyal shepherd pressed close to his side. For the first time, shame flushed across his face. He had come to this farm believing money could bend people to his will, but here before him was proof that respect couldn't be bought. It had to be earned. With no words left to defend himself, he turned on his heel. His polished shoes, once a symbol of power, now looked out of place in the dirt he had mocked. The villagers watched in silence as he left, his arrogance trailing behind like dust in the wind. When the stranger vanished down the road, relief swept through the villagers like a fresh breeze after a storm. Thomas knelt beside Max, placing both hands on his loyal companion's shoulders. His voice trembled. "Good boy." The German shepherd wagged his tail, leaning close as if promising, "I will always protect you." That simple gesture meant more to Thomas than any treasure ever could. Neighbors gathered, offering quiet respect. In their eyes, Thomas was not a poor farmer, but a man wealthy in loyalty and courage. As the sun dipped low, Thomas looked across his land and smiled. The richest man in this field, he thought, is the one who has love, and I have more than enough.